Good morning, everybody. Gotta ask you right out of the chute this morning, your favorite crock pot recipe. I am interested to see what you're going to be posting, what you're going to say about this. I'm going to share mine at some point later today. But tis the season for crock pots. My gosh. Welcome to the Aired Out Podcast, live on Facebook and YouTube, and streamed everywhere you get your podcasts, on the web at airedoutvt.com. Today is International Occult Day. We have 9 days to go before Thanksgiving. Happy birthday today to Teddy Cheney, Karina Codling, Lisa Smeedy, Nate Ball, Lindsay Henry, Muriel Morse, and Corey Young. Local birthdays. David Ortiz is 50. Happy birthday, Big Papi. Megan Kelly is 55. Owen Wilson, 57. Gary Sheffield, also 57. 67 for Oscar Nunez. And Mickey Bouse, 97 years old today. $5 Tuesdays. They're back at the Capitol Theater. Skip the line. Grab your tickets. Get out to a movie. FGBtheaters.com in Montpelier. Follow them at FGB Theaters on, Facebook and Instagram for updates, for showtimes, for added showtimes, special events, and more. Sometimes when the weather's not great, they add in a few more showtimes. So check them out. Looks like partly cloudy skies today and 33 degrees. Few clouds tonight, 21. Sunny and 38 tomorrow, and then Thursday, cloudy and 40. That'll be day number 1, Thursday, of Stuff a Truck. I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Facebook question of the day. Again, if you get time today, post up your favorite crock pot recipe. I would love to see what you have to say, and we'll share it with everybody. I'll be picking one probably Friday or so. I'll run down my favorite of what I'm seeing. In sports, UVM men's soccer team has taken the number 1 seed in this year's NCAA tournament. They're going to face off against the winner of a matchup between Syracuse and Hofstra this weekend. How exciting. Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, December 19th on Netflix is when they're going to be trading blows. Monday Night Football, Cowboys beat the Raiders 33-16 last night, according to Google Keyword Planner data. The Philadelphia Eagles are hated in 13 states, which is the most of any team. They're followed by the Raiders in 8 states and the Jets and Packers in 6. I know. Community calendar. Tuesday night meal. We've got it at the Barrie American Legion tonight. Dine in or take out, just $12. 5:30 is when it starts. Please, if you can, order ahead at 479-9058 and keep an eye on the Barrie Post 10 Facebook page and the World newspaper, for that matter, for the menu. Don't forget, Wellness Wednesday at the WellSpace building right here in Barrie at 23 Summer Street is tomorrow. Yes, it is tomorrow, and they've got yoga this year. It's big. Thursday, again, the start of Stuff a Truck, Pack the Pantry up at Price Chopper, and it's going to be a year that's probably going to be more important than any other year. But, yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of stuff that's going on in our community, and a lot of it is just great. We have some Vermont headlines this morning that I'm following. I've got all of these stories up on the page. The Texas guy that's in court after police said that he intentionally damaged a mail carrier windshield. Vermont State Police called to Crossroads Bar and Grill in Royalton early Sunday morning for a report of this disturbance. Justin Gomez, might be time to sign up for those anger management classes. National headlines. The U.S. House expected to vote today on whether to compel the Justice Department to release files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Everybody's talking about this today. Federal agents say they have detained over 130 people in Charlotte, North Carolina since Friday as part of that ongoing immigration crackdown that has just been buzzing on the internet all weekend long. Roughly 200 agents are due to be redeployed to New Orleans this coming weekend. Federal agents fanning out across North Carolina's largest city over the weekend, more than 130 people in the first 48 hours detained. Big immigration crackdown that has prompted protests. We have a Tennessee judge yesterday blocking the use of the National Guard in Memphis under a crime-fighting operation by President Donald Trump, but also put on hold the order, giving the government 5 days to appeal. So that'll be interesting. David Richardson, the acting chief of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, resigned yesterday, partly because of the heat that he's been taking over the Texas floods and how he dealt with them and responded to them. World news, a big explosion on a railway track 60 miles from Warsaw has disrupted aid delivery to Ukraine. That's one of the big stories that's buzzing this morning in world news. We have a domestic war crimes court in Bangladesh yesterday sentencing ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hassani in her home minister to death for violating suppressing student protests last year. Wow. Post Malone, Lil Jon, Jack White, going to be headlining the NFL Thanksgiving halftime shows. That is just coming out in music news this morning. Of course, almost as big of the story about Weird Al. Weird Al Yankovic playing shows at the Champlain Valley Expo this summer. Yes, we have some interesting stuff happening. I have right next to me Roxy and Leah, who are some local folks who have quite a story, and I want to thank you both so much for spending some time with us this morning. Thank you, Roxanne, so much. Have I met you before now?
You may have seen us like downtown during the Halloween stuff.
Okay.
Stuff like that. But
so you're right next to you is your daughter Leah, who's a little shy this morning. And the two of you have been through a whole hell of a lot.
Oh yeah.
For how long now? How long has this been going on?
Since June 5th, 2020.
2020. So 5 years.
Yep.
Almost 6 years.
Almost.
So Leah goes to Berry City School. Used to go to Berry City School, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then now she does remote learning through VTVLC because she can't. She's really immunocompromised, so she can't go in person.
So what's the story? What's going on? I know that there's been a GoFundMe page that's out locally. Am I right?
Yep.
Okay.
It's on her. Well, it's Leah's journey, fighting for every breath through GoFundMe, and then she also has a Facebook page of Leah's journey, which has followed her since June 5th, 2020, when she was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And how old is Leah?
Leah is 11 now.
11 years old.
Yep.
You've been through an awful lot, Mom. I mean, I can't even begin to grasp everything that you're dealing with.
Yeah, it's been hard, but I feel like it's been hardest on Leah because she's the one who has to fight it. But she was what we thought was an ear infection turned into being leukemia. Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, and then we ended up going to the pediatrician on June 5th, 2020, thinking she had an ear infection because she was prone to them. And we went to the pediatrician's, and she had a rash behind her ear called petechiae rash. It looks like broken blood vessels. She had no ear infection, so we went and got labs done over at CVMC, and we went home, and she had a fever and stuff, and all she wanted to do was watch Ratatouille and eat bacon, because at that point she had discovered bacon, and bacon became life.
Yeah.
And I got a phone call about 30 minutes after leaving the hospital saying we needed to rush her back up to the emergency department at CVMC, that she had a potential leukemia diagnosis. And so brought her back up there, and from there we got transported to Burlington, and we stayed at UVM for about, I think it was like 3 or 4 months. She did 3 rounds of chemo. And then from there, we went to Boston and stayed at Boston Children's, and she got a bone marrow transplant on September 25th, 2020. Yeah. And she ended up getting mucositis really, really bad. And that's where like the chemo attacks all your mucous membranes in your body. There was a point where she also got like a really bad cold after transplant. And then she made it through that. We eventually got to go home, but we were having to travel to Boston every week.
Again, this is back in 2020.
2020, and it was during COVID, so she was completely isolated in just her hospital room. She's never met another child who has had cancer or anything because the kids were not allowed to go near each other because of COVID. And then she started doing better. We got home, and we went home, and she still had an NG tube placed in her nose. She still had a central line in her chest, which I would have to like flush her central line.
Yeah.
I would have to change the bandaging. I did like administered feeds through her NG tube and medications. But eventually all that stuff came out, and she did good for about 2 years, and she got to go back to school for about a year. But
Wow.
she ended up getting sick a lot, and she kept getting like cold. Every time she got a cold, it would turn into pneumonia. And just recently, this past July, it was discovered that she has chronic graft versus host disease in her lungs. So it's where pretty much her bone marrow transplant attacked her lungs, her T cells. And so we tried doing, she's still on the medications right now, but it's like trial medications. It's steroids and another medication called belimosidil. And it's supposed to try to make it so the GVHD goes to sleep. But unfortunately, it has recently been said that she now needs a lung transplant because the damage is done.
When did you find that out? When was
This
that?
past July was when we found out she had the chronic graft versus host. And then it was October was when the doctors said like her pulmonary functioning tests are very low, and that the quality of life, even if the GVHD was to go to sleep, her lungs will continue to deteriorate, and she'll eventually end up on oxygen and stuff, that their next course of action would be get her on the transplant list. But it's hard to get her approved for a transplant because with all the chemos and the medications and everything, she also has kidney disease and liver disease. So
Because of the chemo?
because of the chemo and like being on steroids, the trial meds, all that, it really does damage to your renal system, and weight does a lot to the organs. So her approval rate for a transplant is low. We did just recently, at the beginning of November, start the process of meeting with the transplant committee and all the doctors and everything to just try to get her approved. They did recently also put her on palliative care, just in case, because if she doesn't get approved, then we focus on keeping her comfortable.
Yeah.
But we are traveling to Boston every 2 weeks for appointments, follow-ups. She gets a bunch of labs done. And then when we're not going to Boston, we're going to UVM and meeting with her UVM team. She's very closely monitored. And then if we're not there, we're home because she has to avoid germs as much as possible.
How are you how are you coping with all of this? I mean, this is unimaginable for me to hear.
I have the mindset of like just do it. Like you can't choose not to do it. So we're really big on finding the positives within the negatives. So we don't focus on like the bad stuff. We focus on the good that we're finding within these moments. Like we she's gotten like we've gone to the aquarium. We've gone to some museums and stuff when during downtime when there's not a lot of people there. So the positive of that is like getting to see things, do things, and just like being together. Yeah.
What's your support system like? Is it friends? Is it family? Is it church? What does that look like?
We have some family member, like my dad. He's really helpful. Leah's dad, he drives us to Boston and stuff, so he's a part of what's going on. And then there's not a whole lot. We have like other family members, her grandmother and stuff, but we're kind of like smaller.
Yeah.
Circle of people.
Yeah. I know there's you mentioned a GoFundMe
Yep.
page. How do we find that? And obviously I'm gonna link it up here in the comments. But
Going to her page, it's Leah's Journey, and it actually follows all the way from 2020. It explains everything that she's gone through. There's like videos, pictures, to now.
okay.
I haven't updated it in a little bit because we've been very busy with a bunch of appointments and stuff, but I have the goal within the next couple days to like update it.
And it's just leahsjourney.com or
No, it's on Facebook, so
it's on
just
Facebook.
Leah's Journey.
Okay. This is a lot.
Oh yeah. And so on the 21st she goes into surgery.
21st, that's Friday.
Yep, this Friday. She has Achilles tendon lock. A lot of the time medications will cause that, and also because she's not able to walk around freely like all of it because she gets really short of breath. Just putting pants on, she gets really short of breath, so she can't like run and all that stuff. But a lot of it is the steroids can cause your Achilles tendons to lock, so she doesn't have full range of motion in her ankles. So their goal is they're going to release her Achilles tendons, and then she'll have casts on both her legs for a month, 4 to 5 weeks, and then they'll put her, she'll be wearing like boots until she can get custom made leg braces, and then a lot of physical therapy.
So both feet?
Both feet.
And at the same time on Friday?
Yep.
And where's that being done?
At UVM.
Wow.
Yeah. And then she recently, she's been having issues with her blood sugar because of being on steroids. And we've been having to monitor that. We've been monitoring it for about 2 months now. Her sugars are ride high and then they'll plummet. They're not positive if maybe she has developed diabetes due to, which isn't it's not rare for that to happen with kiddos that have had chemo and had to take all these meds. So she's not on insulin, and luckily we've managed, the social workers were able at the hospital to get her help assist with purchasing Dexcoms. She has a Dexcom, and the sensors are about like $260 a sensor. But it's helped us significantly be able to track her blood sugars and not have her fingers poked constantly because she is an artist. She draws a lot. She does a lot of painting. She makes molds out of clay and all that. And it was really affecting her fingers.
I'm just trying to absorb all of this, everything that you're saying. This is a lot of stuff.
A lot, yeah.
And you're I'm right here on the GoFundMe. It says you're raising money for travel expenses, hotel stays, food, and any other financial hardships that are arising.
Yeah, because I've had to. I work at CVMC. I'm an LNA, and I work in the mental health secure holding area. And I was originally full time, but I've now since had to go to per diem. So I pick up shifts when I can because I'm needed at home to take care of her, administer medications. There's times where like with her blood sugar, um, I just have to like be there to make sure like if she has an emergency that I can get her help as quick as possible. Also, a lot of people aren't very comfortable with dealing with the medical stuff. Definitely with a child, because
Sure.
it can go from everything's okay to scary very fast.
Very quickly. Yeah. I can't imagine the roller coaster.
Yeah. Leah was recently hospitalized in September because she had gotten a cold. And she ended up, she went to a pulmonary appointment at UVM, and when they listened to her lungs, they said, you need to be admitted because she ended up having pneumonia. And then she also she gets IVIG infusions to try to help. It's like borrowing somebody else's immune system. It's considered a form of a blood product, but not technically a blood product, but it helps make her IgG levels go up. So she has some form of an immune system. So she's not riding like an immune system of 0. So she has to do that once a month, and it's really tough on her kidneys. She gets edema and stuff. And she ended up getting IVIG when we had that hospital stay. We ended up in the hospital for 3 days because her renal system started to shut down. So, yeah.
What about teachers from Berry City School or any of the administration? Have they stayed in touch with you?
Yeah, we have meetings. We were just recently supposed to update her 504 plan because they're the ones who pay for Leah's remote learning. So she's still a student at BCMS. It's just she's having to remote learn. But yeah, the principal, we're in contact. And then there's a case manager through the school that we communicate with. The nurses are involved, like they know what's going on. And then also like her 12-year-old sister goes to the school in person.
Oh.
And her brother, who's 14, he was there last year, but he now goes to Spalding. So we're still affiliated with them and stuff. And
how has this impacted Leah socially?
Socially, she's not able to really socialize because the risk of illness. So mainly she sees her classmates online. A lot of it is doctor's offices and that type of stuff. She's not a big fan of socializing either. She'd rather have a conversation with an adult than she would a kid because unfortunately she was 5 when this all happened, and she had to be isolated because of COVID. And so she spent a lot of time with like child life specialists and mom and nurses and doctors. So going around kids her own age is difficult for her because they tend to be hyper and stuff, and she's very calm and like kind of like an adult would be. And so sometimes she's like, I can't. Like she's tried socializing like outside at our house with other neighborhood kids, but she's like, I can't. They don't listen. So she's very withdrawn due to it.
What about what about on like on the tablet or the phone in FaceTiming? Is that something that could be possible for?
Oh yeah, she has access to. She does have like a couple like Roblox is a big thing nowadays.
Sure.
And so she has one student that she will from her like remote learning that they will make a plan to like play games together on Roblox and chat through that. Not as much as you used to. Well, not as much as she used to, I guess.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I would guess that would get kind of boring after
Oh
a
yeah,
while.
yeah. She does a lot of drawing on her phone. She just recently. I have all the kids make Christmas lists every year, and one of the things on it said drawing pad, and of course I thought like a pad of paper, drawing pad.
Yeah,
She meant drawing iPad,
yeah.
and I had said something to her about like a drawing pad, and I had said it was paper, and she was like, "No, that's not at all what I meant." And I was like, "Well, I'm happy we cleared that up, or you would have got a pad of paper." She was like, "Yeah, no."
Are you going to be connected to any local services to help out with the holidays with Christmas?
I've reached out to a couple, um, but like I said, I've been so busy, like that by the time we're done with appointments and stuff, it's like it's very mentally, emotionally taxing, and then of course trying to work when I can. So normally if we don't have appointments and like Leah's having like a good day, I'll pick up a shift so I can be able to. And so then normally if I'm not at appointments with her and stuff, I'm at work as much as I possibly can. So it's hard to like try to be on my phone because I can't be on my phone at work. And then it's just you gotta sleep when you can too.
Yeah, I I really can't,
That
I
and
can't imagine.
yeah. And then when we're not at appointments and I'm not at work, I'm on the phone with doctors because
Sure.
they call to check in constantly, or if there's like if anything changes with Leah, like Leah's doctor in Boston, she's amazing. She was like even if she was being funny, but she was like even if a hair on Leah's head is sitting wrong, we want to know because
Sure.
it could be something. And we actually just had recently where Leah ate some chips and her whole mouth turned white, like her lips and everything. And I was like, what in the world is going on there? And so I took pictures and sent it through the My Chart, and they instantly called me and they're like, is she having difficulty breathing? Is she developing an allergy? And I was like, no, she didn't even know it was happening until I showed her the picture. They said one, don't she's not allowed to have those chips anymore, but also they thought maybe it was like salt or
Yeah.
something causing it to happen. So it's even the smallest thing.
Yeah.
So
Mom, you are first of all, you're a very, very tough lady.
thanks.
You're you're constantly living right on the edge here.
Yeah.
I mean, any time for yourself or your own interests or anything is out the
No.
window.
Yeah. Not very much. I mean, I occasionally will like go out to lunch with my friend or something, but a lot of the time, yeah, I live and breathe.
Go.
Yep.
It's like go.
My
Oh,
whole world, I say Leah is my identity. Um and it's hard and scary, but she's my kid and I'm going to do anything for her. So,
wow.
we have fun sometimes though.
When I hear something like this in our community, it really resonates. I mean, this is like I just I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but I literally am speechless. I can't imagine carrying the kind of weight that you're carrying. I don't I don't know that I'd be that strong.
I I just do it. And Leah just does it. She's great at fighting. I mean, she's 11 too, so that preteen stuff is happening.
Yeah.
And it gets taxing on her, of course. So we have times where we want to fight it. She wants to fight against her meds and stuff, and say no. But she always like, we'll just take a break for a second. let her breathe, and she always ends up taking her medications. She always ends up doing the things. She hates them. That's what she just said. I hate them. She hates antibiotic day. On a regular day, any day that's not Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, she takes about 9 pills first thing in the morning. She has an Afflo vest, which is a vest that you wear and it shakes you, so she can move phlegm. And then she has a nebulizer, and she has 3 inhalers. So it's about a 30, 45-minute morning routine every morning. And then at nighttime, she has to repeat all those breathing treatments and stuff. And then on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, it's 13 pills in the morning because she's on 2 different type of antibiotics every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to try to avoid infections as much as possible. So
you're the mom, you're the caregiver, you're the nurse, the medical staff,
the secretary.
The secretary.
She's everything.
She's everything.
She's everything. 'Cause you're everything. Yeah.
She's a great mom, isn't she, Leah? Mm-hmm. You're very, very lucky. You're very lucky. I hope you know that.
Oh, she does. She lets everybody know.
Is there any kind of breaks for, like, can we do ice cream? Can we do a movie theater?
I actually just recently, this past Wednesday, I had the day off. And Tuesday night, I was like...
Day off?
Yeah. Tuesday night, I was like, they do that $5 movie thing at the movie theaters. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go see a movie. And it just happened to be they had no movies on the schedule that day. And I was like, oh, man. And so I stayed home and I relaxed and hung out with the kiddos and read a little bit of a book, but I got to take a nap, so that was nice. Yeah.
You got that. That's huge.
Yeah,
that's huge. Wow.
Sleep doesn't come very easy. It's a lot of tossing and turning and waking up. And for a minute, for the longest time, I was doing night shift up at the hospital, and I just recently switched to days.
The holidays are right in front of us. We've got Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks. We've got Christmas right after that.
Yeah, we have a lot happening before Thanksgiving because Leah goes into her surgery the 21st.
That's Friday.
Yeah, she'll stay the night, and if everything goes well, we'll get to discharge and go home the 22nd. And then we turn around the 23rd and we head to Boston. She has appointments in Boston on the 24th. We come back from Boston 25th, and then Thanksgiving's the 27th. And I'm the cook, too. I do all the meal making and stuff for that. And then we have our little tradition where we watch Wizard of Oz and eat apple pie and ice cream at night. We do it every year.
Wow. How can our community, aside from prayer, how can our community come together and help you?
I would say donating through the GoFundMe, helping with the finances is really hard. And we all know about how things are expensive.
Yeah.
Very expensive. So gas, all that it's a lot. And then with having to get less hours at work, it's, keeping up with the bills, and because that stuff doesn't stop. Unfortunately, when bad things happen in life, you still gotta keep your lights on, keep the kiddos fed, all that.
I'm just...
and then also, like, art supplies, stuff like that, because Leah's big on anything crafty.
Yeah. Hashtag prayers for
Leah.
And
then hashtag Leah Strong. So during her, when she, in 2020, was diagnosed with cancer, we did a fundraising, and we sold T-shirts that said, they had a unicorn on them, said hashtag Leah Strong, and then there was also bracelets That's the other, like, my sister for a minute there, she was trying to, like, fundraise. She tried making it so possibly she could do a silent auction or something, and she was calling around businesses to see if they wanted to donate to the silent auction, but it ended up turning out she couldn't find a venue that was, like, willing to, like, for a second there was, like, I don't know which place around here it was that they agreed at first to, like, let her use the space for free, but then they weren't able to, and then a lot of places didn't want to, or but she's very busy herself. But if anybody has any type of fundraising ideas as well, it's welcomed, because it's hard to fundraise nowadays.
It is.
And I don't have the time to try to fundraise. I've tried, but I'm not very good at it.
You and I will have a conversation about that at some point here. I think right now we just need to get through this coming Friday's surgery.
Oh, yeah. A lot of prayers. Send those our way, because it's really difficult for Leah to get surgeries, because with her lungs, it's very risky, because she'll be intubated.
Yeah.
And have the machine breathing for her during it, but it also creates, like, fluid buildup and all that stuff afterwards. So she gets a lot of fluid in her lungs, and then we're not quite sure how it's going to go with her kidneys.
Yeah.
Because lately, when she's gotten, like, high amounts of fluid, it builds up in her, and then it affects her kidneys.
And you'll have family right there.
Her dad will be with us there,
Okay.
and then my dad will be with my other kids. But if anything happens, we have, like, I'll let him know. He'll let the rest of the family know. Like, we have plans in place for, like, when things do like that happen. But we
Sure.
always just hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That's always the goal. Which I'll be updating her Facebook throughout it to let people know, like, how it went and all that. And I normally I'll do, like, a post on her Facebook of, like, she's gone into surgery. Anyone who does pray, start praying the prayer chain now really hard, because she's, like, obviously put to sleep, and it's happening that second.
But it's Leah's journey on Facebook. I'm gonna share that right now on everybody's screen so they can see it. 732 friends. We need to get that up to 1,000 if we can here quickly, and get more people connected to what's going on here with this young girl. This is amazing. She's been fighting this fight since 5 years old.
Yep.
Wow.
We're really hoping she gets approved for the transplant, but with that is very scary. Very risky, like you just said. Yep. She just said it's very risky. If she gets approved, we wait for that phone call to say that they got a donor, and then we head to Boston. We have 4 hours to get there. And then from there, they do, like, blood tests, stuff like that. It's a 12 to 18-hour surgery.
Unbelievable.
And she would be on a ventilator and in a medical coma for up to 7 days. A lot of 4 chest tubes, and they said something about wires that go into the chest that attach to the heart for the first 48 hours to keep track of that. I had a hard time reading, because they gave me the transplant folder that explains the whole procedure and everything afterwards. And let's just say Mom had to set it down and go take a walk because it was very scary. And then we would be in Boston. We have to live in Boston for 6 months to a year after if she gets the transplant because she has to stay in very close.
Right there. Yeah.
She can't be far away because like she could have up to 3 or 4 appointments in a week. And also with a lung transplant, it's one of the hardest transplants to get, and you're guaranteed that your body is going to try to reject it. It's not if it's going to reject it, it will definitely try to reject it. Everybody who's ever gotten a lung transplant, their body automatically starts trying to reject them. So it's a matter of adjusting like anti-rejection meds, and if she ends up being able to get the lung transplant, she'll be on medications for the rest of her life. Steroids, anti-rejection meds, other medications. And so with this issue with the not being sure if she does have diabetes or not, eventually it would, with steroids, you're pretty much going to end up with diabetes at some point.
Where are you guys going to live when you're in Boston?
So the social workers through there is some like housing foundations through the Boston Children's Hospital that they can try to have us in. They try to help families with the housing piece of it. So that's good. And then my plan for like, because obviously I'm gonna have a home still in Vermont that I still have to pay the bills and stuff. My other children would have stated that like they'd want to come visit in Boston, but they'd want to stay in our home, and so my dad would end up staying with the other kiddos. So I had said, I was like, well, I could always apply to work at Boston Children's Hospital as an LNA and during that, and work when I can, kind of like I'm doing now. But obviously, right out the gate, right after surgery, I'm going to stay bedside.
Yeah, right. Will CVMC up here, will they hang on to your job for you?
I'm not sure about that, to be honest. With a per diem position, you have to work at least 2 shifts a month to be able to hold your job.
Okay.
And then I've been trying to do the FMLA stuff, but it's been a pain.
Yeah. On a good day, that's a pain.
Yeah.
I'm just glancing through some of these photos, which are just staggering to see what you guys have been through over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Thank God you've got each other.
Oh, yeah. We try to have some forms of traditions. Like, we just recently started, like, during Halloween, we try to watch, like, a scary movie a night. We've been doing that for a couple of years. And then Christmas time, we try to watch one Christmas movie each night when we can. And then we do, like, gingerbread house making and decorating of cookies and decorating the house. And these are, like, all things that I've done with the kids since they were little. So it's, like, tradition to do these things. So I guess if you were a fly on the wall, you would see medications and stuff being done and stuff, but we try our best not to, like, dwell on the illness and all that stuff. It was hard recently having to have the conversation with her siblings about, like, she needs a lung transplant, and then explaining to them what would happen if she doesn't have the lung transplant, and then also explaining it to Leah, because when Leah's in her appointments, she'll say, like, I do my part by getting my blood taken and doing the tests they want me to do, but aside from that, she'll be sitting in her wheelchair, and she'll draw on her phone or something, and she doesn't really listen to what's happening. She'd rather mom have the conversations, and then we go home and we have a conversation, and I explain it to her in ways that she can understand. And so it was definitely a hard conversation to have with her, like, because she was there at the appointments, but she wasn't, like, she wasn't fully listening. So when
My body was there, but I wasn't with them.
right, her body was there, but her mind was not with them, and she wasn't, and so I had to explain to her, like, you need a lung transplant, and then she asked what happens if I don't get one, and I had to explain to her, then eventually your lungs will stop working.
Stop working, yeah.
Yeah.
How many siblings?
She has 3 biological siblings, and then she has her stepbrother.
Okay. How are tell me a little bit more about how they're handling all this.
I'd say her 12-year-old sister, she's got some mental health stuff. We went through a really difficult time last year where she needed to go get some help at Brattleboro Retreat. But she since
And how old is she?
she's 12.
Okay.
She's
a year older.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she's doing better. But I think when I first explained it to all the kids, they kind of just like disassociated from it, and they didn't accept it. Because they've been so used to it. This has been 5 years, so.
Sure.
My oldest, my 17-year-old, she said, she was like, when I hear the bad news, in my head it's like everything's gonna be fine. Like, it's just, a bump in the road. And so but my 12-year-old, one night, it hit her, and she came in my room, and she was crying, and she was like, Leah had her Afflo vest on, and it makes like a thudding noise, and you can hear it throughout the house when it's going. And my 12-year-old looked at me, and she said, if she doesn't get approved for the transplant, someday we're not going to hear that noise, and that's really gonna, like, I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah.
And she was like crying and stuff, and I like obviously comforted her and stuff. So she's starting to process it, and so I've reached out to the school, let them know everything that's going on, like, and done the like handle with care thing that the Berry City School does. Like, if you send a piece of paper to school and it says handle with care, they know to like be focused on that child a little extra that day and stuff. She also has implemented in place that she takes scheduled breaks and stuff to be able to like breathe. My son, he pretended like it wasn't affecting him, but just recently has come out to say that, it is really bothering me. But he retaliated a little bit for a minute there, was skipping classes at school and
At Spalding.
yeah, and stuff.
And how old is he?
He's going to be 15 in January.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, and so I was starting to get like instant reports of like skipped class and stuff, and so I kind of had a conversation with him. I was like, hey, what's going on? Like, this isn't like you. You don't normally, you're really respectful and stuff. Like, what's happening? And I then asked him, I was like, are you like having a hard time with everything? And he said, yeah, like, I can't. I'm struggling with it, and the acting out is something he can control.
Sure.
And so we've been working on it, and he's definitely, now that he's kind of opening up and talking about it and stuff, and we're putting like plans in place to help him too, like with being able to have breaks and stuff, because he's finding himself getting very easily annoyed with people around him, because like, teenagers are teenagers, kids are kids, they make weird noises, they do stuff that everyone has their own like fidgeting and stuff.
Right.
And normally it wouldn't have bothered him, but he said now like it's really the immaturity, I guess, in a sense, is what he says, because
Yeah.
he's living something so adult, so real, that he is having a harder time relating with, like, the things that kids are talking about and stuff. Because, so we've been in talks of, like, he has a video game that he wants me to play with him. We watch guys grocery games
Yeah.
with each other, because
Yeah.
he's huge on, he wants to do culinary when he gets older, and he wants to do the culinary program at Spalding once he's able to, because he's only in ninth grade right now. And so it's just more of, like, a lot of them have said, with everything going on, we're, like, at appointments and lot, that sometimes it's hard for mom to be able to spend time with each one of them. I do my best as I possibly can to, like, try to make it so each of them have one-on-one time with me.
Sure.
But there was a minute there with, like, when we had, like, so many appointments, and then I was working, so it was like, and he did tell me, he was like, I'm like, I asked him, I was like, is it, like, do you need more time with me, and that's what's happening, like, and he said, yeah, I need some more time with you. So we've now started to, like, watch our shows together and stuff with each other. And then my 17-year-old, she's very isolated. She doesn't like leaving the house. And when Leah first was diagnosed with cancer, of course, all the kids got taken out of school for COVID. So everybody switched to remote learning. But then when it was time to go back to school, her siblings continued to do remote learning for a year after, because a year after transplant, we couldn't risk any illnesses. So her older sister, like, missed 7th and 8th grade. And then she just got tossed into high school, and yeah. And she felt like she didn't know anybody and stuff, but she's very helpful. She's very caring, but she's not a big people person. She's like, no. But I've asked, I think I would say she's one of the ones that, like, she just kind of goes with it like I do.
Right.
She just, you got to do it. And I ask all the kids all the time, like, are you okay? Like, do we need to talk about anything? But she's not ready to talk about it. And she's still, I think, still processing everything herself.
The link for the GoFundMe is up on the page right now, and it's also on your screen. If you can, donate anything, whether it's $5 or $10, it would be so appreciated. I am so blessed to have met both of you. Hard to hear this story.
Yeah.
But I'm blessed that you reached out to me and said, "Hey, this is a story of a little girl here in our community who needs help." And our community is pretty damn good at rallying together
Oh, that's for sure.
to help out.
It was hard for me to reach out and ask for help, because I'm one of those do-it-yourself, just keep pushing. But I got to a point where I was like, I need to.
No, I mean, this is what we're supposed to do as a community, whether we're using microphones and cameras or not.
Right.
This is what we're supposed to do. I'm going to be watching this page very carefully. Leah's Journey is the name of the Facebook page, which will have updates.
Yep.
Especially come Friday and through the weekend.
Yep.
I'll be watching. I'll be paying attention. I know our community will as well. And if they can help out in any way, the power in numbers is massive.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if everybody throws $5 in the pot, I mean, that can turn some real big numbers fast.
Mm-hmm.
we've got the link up there. This little girl is going to be in my heart and in my head here for quite a while. And Leah, I hope that the next time I see you, I hope that you're going to tell me something positive after this surgery, that you're going to be walking better. And we got to take one thing at a time here.
Oh, yeah.
You got a lot of stuff that's stacked up on you right now. A lot. Unfathomable that at 11 years old, my little girl is 11, that you're carrying all of this. I just cannot imagine.
It's something.
I think I say, Mom, that you're doing one hell of a job.
Thank you.
I know you got some help, and kudos and love to everybody that's on your team and on Leah's team. Whew. It's a lot of stuff. Will you stay in touch with me here? I mean, I'm gonna reach to you after Friday.
Yep.
But I really genuinely want to stay in touch and hear how things go and what happens.
Yeah. Definitely am great at sending messages and phone calls.
Is she pretty good at that, Leah? Yeah. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
For coming in here this morning, sharing your story, and allowing yourself to be so vulnerable. Our community sees you, they hear you, and we're going to do all we can to help out. Roxanne and Leah, God bless you both.
Thank you.